Hey guys, so today we are testing out a new format, and the reason why we're doing this format is because YouTube doesn't really want anything to do with any of the chans on their site, and so whenever you take a screenshot or anything and post it, they don't like that at all. For instance, we did a Reddit video about a month ago, and it performed almost 10 times better than our normal stuff, and that was because the screenshots were from Reddit and not from any of the chans. And so we decided we're going to test this site and see how it goes and see what the new format's like. I really want to hear your opinions on it. I am kind of hesitant on it. Megan, she really likes it, but I think it could still do with a bit of improving. But I really want to hear what your thoughts are. It's just we have to do something because, as I say, YouTube does not want this type of content, and it's only a matter of time before it will be completely outright banned. We are most definitely on borrowed time.
How do you do fantasy races well?
By making them human. Unironically, though, to a certain extent, they're human but X, and then kind of gets a wee bit boring.
I mean, what's the point of making human but pointy ears, or humans but big eyes, or human but short? Aren't they all just effectively human, anyways? The other route just involves making animal people, i.e. frog humans, lizard humans, bird humans, and that seems a bit silly, but it seems like you're taking animals but making them more human-like. A third route involves making something that isn't humanoid at all, like slimes, but that gets impractical from a gameplay perspective.
Yeah, that's a big problem I've got with it. It's kind of like when you try to imagine an alien probably isn't going to be shaped like a human.
Yeah. Like,
chances are, if we ever come in contact with aliens...
That's going to be like microbes or something.
Yeah, but...
to be honest.
So how do you do that gameplay-wise? How can they even use a sword? How can they use a shield? How can armour be adjusted? You know what I mean? There's so many what-ifs.
Yeah.
And it is very difficult. The other big problem, I think, is as well, they're going to be played by humans. That's the key point I think a lot of people forget.
It can be fantasy all they want, but behind it, it's human.
It's a human trying to interpret it.
Yeah.
Would that be a good way?
Yeah.
So that's why I feel like it does devolve a lot of the time, but humans but with pointy ears.
Yeah.
I feel like one of the few fantasy races that are done amazingly well across the board are goblins, though. Unironically, I know it's turned into a bit of a meme here, but I do think goblins have got so many different layers to them that you can do an awful lot with them.
Yeah.
But I feel like elves just evolve down into like snooty, arrogant,
snobby humans. Yeah.
Yeah. Does that make any sense? Whereas I feel like goblins is a lot more variety with them.
That you can play with. Yeah.
Yeah. Although elves are probably second best. Like dwarves, and as much as I love a good dwarf, what else is there to do with dwarves bar? They like to dig holes. They're big, strong men. Well, they're not big, but they're strong men. What else is there really to put on them? It's kind of... I have a difficult time. Like, how do you reimagine a dwarf?
You can't.
A dwarf is a dwarf in my mind.
Yeah. The great thing about fantasy races is that they can possess traits and abilities that humans cannot have. Otherwise, they wouldn't be humans. Inherent magical abilities, increased strength, agility, vision, hearing, constitution, increased lifespans. You can go absolutely nuts with them. Humans only justify themselves by being relatable. If players weren't such dummies, we wouldn't need to force humans between these races and give them narrative handjobs how they are able to compete.
Words up.
Compete with fantasy races that are better than them in almost every day. And most of the time, humans as a playable race are equally boring and strong, as they just get some free shit instead of having an identity.
Yeah, that is actually... Yeah, okay, I will give them that. They do... I do... But the thing is, for me personally, I play humans an awful lot. Humans, or I play a dwarf, and that's about it. I do try and go out there and try other things, but if it's something default, I just go with that, because I feel like I can do that best. I can give it more justice, and I feel like, for me personally, I'm more about role-playing than anything else. So... why would I not go for human at the same time? Again, I'm not a very good player. I'm not a very good role player. So I suppose that justifies me.
I hate racism tropes in fantasy. In the real world, racism is bad. It's based on an idea of we're all the same on the inside, so we should be nicer to each other. This completely doesn't work in fantasy though. where you have elves who have lived for thousands of years and seen how shitty humans are over and over, and are also just better than humans at everything. Of course the elf is going to think badly of humans, and no, it's not some clever allegory for racism. I fucking hate Bright, or whatever it's called, and fuck Will Smith for starring in that piece of garbage.
I actually really liked it. I actually kind of enjoyed Bright.
Is it Bright? Or
yeah, it was called Bright. Yeah, they didn't make any more movies on it, though, sadly.
I didn't mind it. It was actually quite good.
I liked it, but no, I get it. I get the whole idea, and honestly, you know, when it comes to fantasy, let's be serious. Like, you know, humans have got... humans hate each other. We hate each other for stupid things a lot of the time. But let's be serious. If your village is constantly getting attacked by orcs or goblins or elves or dwarves or anything,
you're not going to like that race.
like, you know, like let's be serious. What's going on in Eastern Europe at the minute? You know, I'm not going to say what's going on in Eastern Europe at the minute, but everyone knows what's going on in Eastern Europe, and we all see a lot of things that are being said about both factions. So let's not try and kid ourselves here. In a fantasy world, I completely...
Like we're from Northern Ireland. We don't like other...
We've got enough problems with other white European Christians, so the idea of people having issues with other people or other races altogether, I think it makes sense. I do think it's a bit annoying, though, and it's something that it's not something that I find very interesting in a fantasy world. It's not something that I'm gonna like go out, oh, I really want to explore this dynamic of why do dwarves and elves hate each other. They just do, and again, it's been done to death, so it's not something that I'm gonna spend any time thinking about or building up an idea or a world or a setting based around that. Would that be fair to say?
So remember that most of your audience for anything you create will be humans. As such, humans are really only able to identify with other humans, or things that are mostly human. Therefore, by definition, any race that you plan to really explore in depth will have to be boiled down to human, but this in itself isn't a bad thing, but just requires to know where to go next, and that is to make some sort of commentary. So let me put it this way. Dwarves can be described as humans but manly, and with that view you can delve into what is considered masculine, pursuits like mining, crafting, banking, what it implies for warfare, or how society is structured, what the role of women or those more feminine might be, and so on. You've taken an aspect of humanity and broadened it out into a society you can now explore, and for the audience to identify with. Addendum, this process is pretty much the same for sci-fi, but the difference is fantasy tends to be backwards looking, and look at how society has expressed itself in the past, while sci-fi is forward looking, and instead of looking to comment on what society might or could be like.
Actually, you know what? That's actually really good. That's great. We were talking about Spartans or Lacedaemonians last week, weren't we? And like, you know, when you really think about it, like, you know, you could really turn orcs or something else like that, maybe furballs or another like warrior race, and just take the Spartan culture with sleeves and all that type of stuff and slap it on the top, and it would actually work really well. I really like this idea, though. I know this concept, actually, I've never thought about it like this, but I think this guy's making an awful lot of sense to me anyway. Like, take that one aspect and how does it affect a society-wide people? You know, this is one thing, I think we've talked about this before, and I know this is a wee bit off topic, but there's something I find fascinating is the history of children. And, you know, you look back at the Middle Ages and you wonder, whoa, these people are really brutal. Like, you know, look at just their basic punishments. Like, these guys are next level. Like, you know, what type of brutal people, like, you know, when they were doing all these mad things, how could they be like this? But then again, you remember how poorly they treated children as well. So, like, you know, if you have an entire society of emotionally damaged people, what type of society does that then create? And that's something I'm really fascinated with, you know. It's something that I find really fascinating, and I'd love to hear what you guys have to say about these ideas or concepts to build from.
Not saying that orcs and 40k are some kind of genre-defining, trope-busting perfection of world building, but I really like them for how subtly different they are to humans. Orc society is completely self-sufficient. Orcs have a completely different idea of the meaning of life, and orcs are genetically coded with knowledge much in the same way humans are genetically coded with shit like the instinctive reaction to hold on to branches. And all this builds onto the orcs' creation story. Orcs didn't evolve, they were created for a job and they do it well. The entire species is just a tool.
I like that. I think that works really well because, like, Eldar, again, they were created, and I suppose you could think of this kind of like dogs. I love watching. See, there's something about dogs that have been bred for a specific job or purpose, and see, whenever you watch a dog,
hard-working boy. I love watching a hard-working boy at work.
Yeah, and they're and the thing is, whenever they're doing it, they're really enjoying what they do because they've been specifically bred for this one purpose, and they do it to such a degree that humans, we just cannot comprehend. We're never going to be able to do it anywhere half as good as them. You know what I mean? Without some form of tools to help us, we just can't compete.
And they're so happy.
Yeah.
At doing it.
Yeah.
Like, I've watched videos of the dogs, like, hunting rats.
Oh, yeah.
And stuff, and, like, how friggin' they're happy they are just to be there and to be working.
Yeah, they're great. But then again, dogs are a happy bunch anyway.
Yeah.
But again, like, you can kind of see that again. That kind of leads back to orcs and 40k. Where
they're just happy to be in battle. They're just happy.
Even if they're losing, they're still having a great time.
More DACA.
Yeah. As long as you got the DACA, who cares? Let's keep going, And
are orcs just pit bulls? They're misunderstood.
Yeah, well, again, I don't really want to get into the whole pit bull narrative.
Oh no, I don't mean it like that. But are orcs like just
essentially? Yeah, I think so.
Are they wolves?
No, wolves are more organized. I would say.
Oh, they are more organized.
I would say wolves are definitely far more organized. I would say orcs are definitely pit bulls. They're
just happy to be there.
That aggression level.
Yeah.
And again, like, I don't really want to talk about it too much, but honestly, there's a lot of people that own pit bulls that should never own pit bulls at all. These dogs are bred.
Like, we know that they're a strong dog, but they can also be the lovingest.
But again,
little things.
They are bred for fighting. And there's a lot of people that just don't understand that at all and should never be allowed to own one. And you just look at the amount of people that get their faces eaten by them on a daily basis because they're not treated with the respect that they deserve. But also, they are the most smiley, cuddliest little dogs. Great if they're looked after well. And
if they're brought up well and they're not brought up for fighting.
Yeah. Even then, can you get that out of them? It's hard. I don't know, like, this video's not talking about pit bulls, so let's just continue.
Yeah. Psst. Hey, lean in closer. This is fucking ASMR channel now. You know what's pretty fucking based? Titties. Go see titties. Lots of titties.
All the titties.
Go over to the website, check out all the models. You guys know the score. We have some really nice looking models over there. And we have a lot of...
sci-fi gothic?
Yeah.
Let's call them sci-fi gothic.
And if models isn't your shit, we have loads of subclasses and we keep adding them. Every other week or so, we add a lot.
We got a lot.
We've got big brains. We add shit. But yes, go over to the website, check out everything. If you haven't subscribed, what the fuck you doing? Hit subscribe, hit the notification bell as well, and let's get back to the video. Every week, we're going to be doing a giveaway of the new pinup model of the month, or if models isn't your thing, all of our homebrew content. If you want to be in with a chance to win the giveaway, all you need to do is subscribe. That's it. Hit the subscribe button. That's it.
Do it now.
But last week's winner was this guy. Well done! Yay! Round of applause. Everybody stands up and claps. But enough of that. Let's get back to the video. When you play non-human characters in tabletop games, you're just playing a human but with some preloaded quirks and appearances. You cannot empathize with and lustily roleplay as a creature that's as alien to our species as someone living several centuries, for instance. You're just playing a human, and the matter of the concept of the passage of time affects you is under the rug. Same goes for monstrous things with drastically different psychologies like kobold and goblin. You're just playing a little green lizard human.
Yeah, I get that. I feel like that's one of the biggest problems is there's no one alive that's lived for thousands of years to have the understanding worldview of an elf. There might be a few people that have lived underground and sweated the wheat, so there might be a few dwarves out there.
Yeah.
There is a few hobbits as well. I definitely think there's definitely hobbit people, they exist. But again, I suppose, could you say people with autism are kind of like lizard people? I don't know. Maybe. Lack of understanding of... Maybe. Is that considered offensive? Do you guys get what I'm trying to say though? I'm not trying to be mean to anyone. Do you get the idea? Yeah. Like, the idea of a lizard not having...
Yes, we get it, but that's not.
No, but yeah, and I think that's the biggest problem is, what was the saying? the saying of, if a lion could talk English...
We wouldn't understand it.
Because it comes from such a different...
life.
Yeah, that
what we live, that we wouldn't understand
or
what they're saying.
Yeah, like even I suppose this is different. That podcast I went on, you guy had no idea what I was saying.
Literally no idea. It's so funny. You were talking.
It was the other night in a characters. I'll link it down below if you guys are interested. But one of the guys on it was like, he did look at blankness on his face. He had no idea. But I suppose that's different. It's more to do with he can understand my speech, not he can understand my point of view.
Yeah.
Or maybe both, who knows?
The only time I think he realised what you were saying is whenever you said titties.
Oh yeah, he's like, yeah, get the titties out, man. Yeah, show us them titties. I think that was about it. He perked up with that, so he did.
You can't literally act as a different creature. No. But you can't roleplay a human either, because that's not how pretend works. They're all characters. A character can be a pretend version of a human, or a pretend version of an alien. But both of those are equally as much of a non-actual human being. You can only ever be yourself, and nobody else. So saying that role-playing is affected by what you can actually be is fucking nonsense.
Nah, I do think even just understanding...
But look at actors and stuff. What are you on about?
Yeah, you can definitely act as... Well, then again, actors can act as anything within reason. Like, look at Star Wars, for God's sake, you know what I mean?
No. What? Look at Andy Serkis.
Oh, yeah, he's amazing.
Look at him, like, even as Gollum, and then look at him in the Planet of the Apes as well.
Yeah, he did an amazing job.
Like, his whole movement, you can. Role-playing as an alien and role-playing as your friend Chuck have exactly the same amount of validity, but it's not because they're both human. It's because they're both not real. You can absolutely pretend to be a creature that lives forever, just as well as you can pretend to be Buck Grungo, the human swordsman. But you don't see people going around like, actually your name isn't Buck Grungle, and you don't live in a fantasy world, so your character isn't possible.
I get what he's trying to say.
I get it.
No, I get exactly what he's trying to say.
Wrong.
But I do think it's very difficult to.
Yeah.
I do think, and again, it's because it's very hard. Because the thing is, we're imagining what someone would be like if they lived for thousands of years.
Mm-hmm. Nobody actually knows.
No one actually knows. We can't go to someone and ask them, what's it like?
Even look at, like, ye old English text. Like, it's completely fucking different the way they talked and everything.
Yeah, it's very different. And again, look at us today. Look at us today.
Like James plays characters and he's rocking about going, oh mate. Like, they're not saying mate back then.
Yeah, but they'll be like, okay, let's look at humans today and let's look at humans from 100 years ago. They're very different people.
Very different.
You go back another 100 years, they're very different again.
It might as well be a different species the further you go back, because it's nothing like what we are today.
We're very different people. The change of time has affected humans big time. Mm-hmm. I do think fundamentally we are cavemen with fibre optic cable, but but that's true though. I do think of us, we've still got the same caveman brain, but the world around us has most definitely changed so much.
You always say that about Ozzy.
Oh,
that
yeah.
Ozzy has a caveman brain because all he wants to do is play with a stick.
Yeah,
he's all these toys, but give him a good stick.
He wants to
wants to batter things with a good stick. Like, he loves the stick.
He needs a spear. He needs a club. That's what he wants, and that's what's built into humans. I think we want our stick. That's literally it. Yeah, because I was even thinking, like, when as a child, like I love toy swords and stuff like that, and I think it's just something primal in humans, like must beat.
Must beat. Like, I give Ozzy like a wooden spoon and a pot, and he baits the hell out of that pot. He loves it. Yeah. Just loves baiting things.
And that's coded into us as humans. Yeah. And I feel like it is difficult. I do think these are very different things. Like, you guy Chuck, he does exist. You can base him off someone that you've met. You can take all different types of personalities that you've came in contact with before, and you can rework them. But to roleplay as a elf, for instance, I think it's just very difficult to understand them. Yeah. Just to understand them, and then to roleplay them as well on top, and give it justice, I think it's very, very difficult. And that's why it's something that I tend to avoid, but I do want to try. I want to try it more, and I would love to get better at it. And I fully admit I'm not a great role player, so again, you guys get what I'm trying to say. Yeah. So yeah, I think that's where we're going to end it. But the problem, I don't think we've been able to answer the question. How do you make...
Because I don't think anybody can answer the question, because it always seems to devolve back to just humans playing human things.
I buy into experience trumps all. in any regard, be that in work, be that in anything you can think of. Someone that's got experience is better than someone that doesn't have experience. And the problem is, none of us have experience interacting with cat people or bird people or kobolds or goblins or any of that. And I feel like, yes, we can try and flesh them out as much as we like, but deep down, we are not them. We are not a mass-produced goblin that lives in the tunnels. That, we aren't like rat people. I suppose you can watch like mice and rat colonies and you can kind of get an understanding of what a goblin colony would be like.
Yeah.
And again, I feel like that's why it's so, like, animal-based humans tend to work so well, because you can throw on, well, what traits do animals have? And then let's throw that on a human, and there you go. And it kind of does work, and it works pretty well.
I'd love to build, or see somebody, build a race around, an ant colony.
That would be pretty cool. No, that's China. Can I keep that in? There's no Chinese watching, is there? You're going to slag off China on YouTube, aren't you?
Sure.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, there you go. I've seen enough live leak videos of Chinese steel workers. I guarantee you it's going to be something like that. That was a bit too spicy, I suppose.
Well, write down your thoughts below.
Can you guys give us? Are we talking out of our hole? Are we completely off the mark?
Out of our hole all the fucking time.
Yeah, we are talking out of our hole, but it is something that I find really interesting, and it is something that I struggle with an awful lot. Being able to roleplay stuff that isn't human.
Yeah.
And I think it's difficult, and it's definitely something that I would love to improve on, so I would really love to hear your thoughts
down below
on the matter. Or how do you even... I hate the idea... You know what I really hate? I hate, let's make an elf, but let's put a new spin on it. No, elves are perfect as they are. There's loads of good examples. You got your dark elves, you got your high elves, you got... You know what I mean? Your wood elves. They work, and I don't feel like there's any point...
Because there's only two ways to play elves. Either the way everybody knows, snooty knife ears, or
perverted BDSM demons.
Yes, that's it.
Yeah, that's about it. Yeah, I can see that.
But let us know your thoughts down below, and while you're down there, check out the links to the website, to the models, subclasses, all that good shit. Hit subscribe and hit the notification bell so you get notified every time we post a video, and we'll see you in the next one. Bye.
All those moments will be lost in time.